What do you think of when you think of Halo 2 and Skyrim? Do you think about the midnight releases at GameStop, hanging out with friends, or maybe even just the golden age of gaming? Now, it may be just because we're getting older and games aren't hitting the same way they used to, but I think it's actually more in depth. There's something fundamentally wrong with the game developers. Of course, gaming is about making money. That's why everybody gets into it. It's not about developing something that's fun that you enjoy playing and making a difference. It may sound silly, but of course, this is sarcasm. You may not know that based on the number of battle passes that are plaguing video games these days. You can't get a new game without having a brand new battle pass that you have to pay extra money for, and it doesn't help when the games aren't meeting their goals. Take a look at what Phil Spencer had to say about Redfall.
There's nothing that's more difficult for me than disappointing the Xbox community, and just to kind of watch the community lose confidence, be disappointed. I'm disappointed.
Speaking of community, did you know 99.8% of people who view my videos aren't subscribed? Well, here's your chance to subscribe, and back to the video. Speaking of Redfall, this is the most recent in a tragic line of games, specifically AAA, that have failed to meet the mark. It doesn't matter if you substitute Cyberpunk, Starfield, or Redfall into this situation. Time after time, AAA games are not rising to the occasion. But you know who is? Indie games. Smaller companies have dominated the gaming industry this year and the past couple. Notable games like Hollow Knight, Inside, Dredge, and probably the most notable, Hades, have taken gamers by storm. It's no wonder why people keep flocking to these indie games when they have one fundamental key thing about them that keeps the game going. I can't say that this video idea is even original, so I'll take a poll from another video that kind of explained it.
Why is Hollow Knight, with its dreary atmosphere and tight gameplay, the best Metroidvania? And why is a roguelite indie game about escaping hell over and over sound simple, but play just so perfectly? It's not because these indie developers are the most talented or have oodles of cash on hand. It's because they did one thing and one thing only. They followed the fun.
Following the fun. Now, that's something that you don't hear a lot in business. And again, not to shit on Xbox at all, but you can see here with Phil Spencer when he decided to say this.
I see commentary that if you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, all of a sudden you're going to see console share shift.
That's the current focus of these companies. How much can they make? How many games can they sell? How many Battle Pass subscribers can they have? They're not following the fun. And this isn't something that no AAA game can do, because Baldur's Gate this year made a remarkable run and changed the way that gaming will be done in the future. But how did the industry respond? By calling Baldur's Gate an anomaly and saying doing the same thing without the advantages could kill groups of studios. Well, maybe those studios shouldn't be around. What Baldur's Gate 3 was able to accomplish isn't something that should never be done again. It's something that should be repeated over and over. Baldur's Gate has been available in early access for months. I've actually owned this game for probably over 6 months, and the way that it earned such a critically acclaimed user score is by listening to its fan base and putting into the game all of the feedback. Sounds like another game that was critically acclaimed. Hades developers even said that 40% of their changes were inspired by the community's feedback. And not to take away from Supergiant or Hades in general, but this game isn't the most graphically intensive. It's not the most game-breaking, and it's not really even introducing a ton of new mechanics. But yet they still have a list of awards showing how great of a game it is. And let's be honest, that's the way that you can determine if a game is great or not. Not based on the amount of money that you make, but how well received it is. There are a ton of people clamoring at the bit for Hades 2. Meanwhile, you have brand new AAA titles like Starfield failing to meet the expectations. 7 out of 10 is pretty average for video games. It's not what Starfield was hoping for. Being one of the most anticipated games of the last decade, you expected a 10 out of 10. So where did Starfield go wrong? Well, where every other AAA game is going wrong. They don't listen to the fans. They're too focused on producing a quantity of video games available versus few quality video games. And last but not least, all they want is the money. So what do you think? Are indie games going to take over? Or will AAA games finally realize what they're doing? I have a lot to say about this, and I may even do a review on Starfield. But for now, I'll let Starfield say it itself.
This is where we belong.
And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see some more things like this. And you are doing everything right today and you matter. Goodbye.